Today was a regular day in class, but I feel like I do better. This is the building my professor mentioned, I think. I'm standing outside of a tall school building, one of the newer ones, judging from its appearance. Apparently my professor's lab is located inside here somewhere. I'm kind of have this thing where I like to get to know my teachers as soon as possible. It was super easy in high school, and my teachers there said it was a good habit to take with me to college. But apparently you can't go talk to your professors whenever you want. You have to wait for this thing called office hours to go and talk to them. I was able to meet with my other 3 teachers, but my bio professor apparently has some weird meeting to go to, so after asking while pestering through emails him about talking, he agreed to meet with me. The only catch is that I have to swing by his lab instead of his office. I guess he works during this time. It's pretty nice of him to meet with me, even though he's busy. Maybe all those emails had something to do with it. I had the room number of his lab, so finding it's all a matter of following directions on the lobby map. After a few flights of stairs and some number of halls, I finally reached what has to be my professor's lab. Quietly, I slide the door open and peek my head inside. Why does the door slide? This is not Japan, this is Florida. Florida, I say. What did you need? Who's texting me now? Well, why am I in emails? That's not it. Okay. Quietly, okay. Wow, it's really clean in here. Black surface lab stations are lined up down the middle of the room, and on the right side of 2 fume hoods with a different colored knobs. I feel like a fish out of water in here. I don't know what anything is. 2 students in lab coats and goggles are working at the lab stations, and a girl happens to look over when I walk in. She makes a face like I'm a wet dog just coming out of the rain. Am I not wanted or something? Can I help you? Obviously, she's talking to me. Oh yeah, I was looking for Professor Garver. Is he in right now? He stepped out for a bit. He needed to get something from the lab storage downstairs. The girl gives me a look from head to toe. Who are you exactly? She's in one of Garver's classes. To my surprise, I see Jeff. Oh, it's Jeff. I see Jeff stepping up to greet me, his goggles pushed up to his hair. He gives me a small wave and a smile as we lock eyes. He did say that he had a position in this lab, now that I think about it. He might be a while, so if you don't mind, I can take care of you while you wait. He looks to his fellow lab worker and tilts his head. No problems with that, right? Just make sure she follows lab safety rules, Jeff. Just leaves it at that and returns to work. Geez, I know I'm not some sort of sciencey person, but come on. What does she mean by lab safety rules? Jeff lowers his goggles over his eyes and taps the sides with gloved hands. You're going to need one of these, a lab coat, oh, and some gloves too. He takes a look down at my feet. And your shoes are closed-toed. Nice. Just put on what I told you and you'll be okay. Meet me back at my station when you're done. Jeff gestures to the back of the lab, bringing my attention to a rack of hanging lab coats, then heads back to whatever experiment he was doing before I came and interrupted the piece. Now the lab coats are flattering, so I pick a medium-sized one and shrug it on eagerly. I never had a chance to wear one of these before, and there's just something about putting on a lab coat that makes you feel smart. After that, I snag a pair of lab goggles and gloves from the side and head over to Jeff. You guys have no arms! No. He's in the middle of overlooking a pair of beakers, so I take the opportunity to pull the goggles over my eyes. The elastic band snaps snugly around the back of my head. So how do I look? Jeff looks up from his station and gives me a glance over. I strike a little pose in my lab coat and goggles, grinning. Perfect! You look lab ready. Yeah, okay, so what are we doing here? This lab station is a medley of beakers, test tubes, whatchamacallits, and various liquids already being heated on a hot plate. I take the opportunity to slip on the latex gloves at the site. I wouldn't want that all over my hands. You also don't want that latex melting all over your hands. I'm preparing to analyze chemical compositions. One of the main things we do in this lab is study the chemical constituents of soils, plants, water, and other materials. It's not exactly pharmacology, but it does have chemicals. Jeff loses me as his voice takes on this excited, intellectual tone. I vaguely remember him sounding like this the last time we talked about chemicals. So, like, you just study what kind of chemicals are in what things? Jeff smiles, hitches up at the corner. That was a good one, Nicole. Putting it so stupidly like that, you're funny. He forces a few more laughs under his breath as he turns back to his experiment. I was actually serious, though, and... Wait, did he just insult me? Hey, what did you mean by that? Shh, this is the important part. I watch as Jeff moves with the efficiency of an assembly line. He pours, measures, stirs, filters, then goes back to repeat the same process with the other chemicals. It's actually kind of amazing to watch, and I never thought I'd say this about someone working in the lab. Yep, that's our Jeff. I Jill doesn't hear the girl from before coming up behind. She watches Jeff work with brief admiration before turning back to me. When he gets like this, it's hard to shake him out of it. He can say his name as much you can say his name as much as you want, and it would be like you said nothing at all. Dang, so he's really in the zone. You can say that. He's somewhat of a role model for the younger students in the lab, and even some of the older ones. Smart, precise, and worst of all, the guy is nice, too nice to hate. Garver loves him, and he's always there to help if you need it. You don't think people like that exist, and then you meet someone like Jeff in the flesh, and you're like, dang, I really have to step it up, and you know what I mean? Yeah, I know what you mean. I believe that he's going to be the abductor, because he sounds too perfect. He was also the first guy I met. He also works in pharmacology. All these pieces are telling me that the game's going to be fucking with me and be like, we made you think that because you're smart enough to put all those pieces together, but guess what? It's not him. Yeah, so what do you mean? So what you mean is that Jeff is actually perfect. And an abductor! Possible rapist. I don't know. Jeff is actually perfect. I flinch as I hear a crack of breaking glass behind me. What the? Whipping around, I see a mess of glass shards before Jeff's feet, and he's looking down at them, all zoned out like he hadn't realized what happened. Jeff, what happened? Did you hurt yourself? The other lab assistant grabs Jeff's arm worriedly, and her touch seems to bring him back to reality. Sorry, I was careless. That usually never happens. Jeff gestures to the corner of the lab at a container. Don't worry, I'll sweep everything up. Please go back to working, or I'm going to feel bad for disturbing you. If you're sure you're not hurt. She gives Jeff a final thorough look over before returning to her station. Meanwhile, Jeff collects a dustpan and hand broom from atop the receptacle from earlier. He sighs as he kneels down and starts sweeping all the broken glass into the dustpan. At least there wasn't any chemicals in the test tube I dropped. Jeff, are you sure nothing happened? Of course, Nicole. I was just careless is all. Sucks, but that's how it is, I guess. Uh-huh, right. Like, I'm going to believe you accidentally dropped a test tube right after watching you in action like that. I point right at him. Something tripped you up. Jeff stops sweeping for a moment and stares down at the floor, hiding his face from my view. I couldn't help but overhear you two talking, is all. He looks up and smiles apologetically at me. Oh, I think I know what he's getting at. You didn't like that we were talking about you, huh? I know it's never anything bad, but it gets tiring to hear all the time. He lowers his eyelids and starts grumbling under his breath. I mean, how would you like it if the rabble spoke about you like you were the main attraction of some tawdry back alley freak show? Huh? Where did that come from? I didn't even think Jeff was capable of talking like that. Realizing what he said, Jeff nervously laughs. You know, something like that? You are definitely the abductor. Still, it doesn't distract me from that colorful statement of his. He must really not like being gossiped about. Yeah, I wouldn't like it either if people talked about me all the time. I tapped my chin a few times and thought, would Jeff mind if I told him this story? Well, at the very least, he'd know he's not alone in this. Actually, I know how it is to be talked about like that. Like back when I was in high school, people used to talk about me all the time, not to brag. Seriously, I'm not. They'd say things about how well I did on that last test, or how nice I was the last time we went out to eat. That kind of thing. I liked it at first. It was nice to be admired, but then it starts grating on you. It feels like you can't mess up. And it's like, hello, can you talk about something else, please? I'm not here for your amusement. And it's so annoying. I usually twirl the end of my ponytail around my finger as I realize how long I've been going on. Geez, it's not like Jeff asked for a lecture. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is that I get how you feel, so don't worry about it. I'd say just keep doing what you're doing and don't worry about what the others are talking about. Isn't that easier said than done? The tone of Jeff's voice lowers and he stops sweeping. That's honestly rather admirable that you can shrug off other people's concerns so easily, but you shouldn't judge things based on your own terms. Jeff smiles and his usual tone of voice returns. It might be harder for some people, you know. The sudden change frazzles me. Okay, I can't be imagining this. It's like Jeff turns into a different person sometimes. Hey, I think of other people too. I'm just trying to make you feel better. Oh, it worked. Oh, good. Now that he's done sweeping, Jeff stands to his feet, holding the dustpan carrying glass. It's great that someone understands how I feel. Thanks, Nicole. I do feel better now. Oh. Okay then, I'm glad you're here. I actually thought he was upset with me. It goes to show that all you need is a sympathetic ear sometimes. I wait by Jeb's last station as he goes to dispose of the broken glass. It doesn't take long at all, but he's just coming back. The door to the lab swings open again. Oh, welcome back, Professor. Professor. I turn and see my bio professor walking in. He's already wearing a lab coat, looking smart and sharp as usual. Wow, that didn't take long at all. Thank you. They'll be delivering the scales we need in a few minutes. They offered to calibrate them for us first. Garver's eyes follow me, and he squints his eyes as though trying to remember who I am. I don't believe we've ever met before. Are you a new intern? No. Science isn't really my thing. I'm Nicole Grave, the girl with the emails. Everyone makes a face like I just brought back several uncomfortable memories. Geez, sorry, guy. At least you won't forget me now. You're a tenacious girl, I'll give you that. You'll go far if you keep that up. Sorry, I just really wanted to talk to you before we got too far into the course. No, don't apologize. I do wish that more students were as proactive as you. Garber looks over my shoulder, presumably at Jeff. And I see Mr. Ryan took you under his wing in the meantime? Yeah, Jeff's been keeping me company. He taught me what to wear in the lab and what you guys do here. It sounds pretty important. But way over my head, I silently add. As expected from Mr. Ryan, but if he doesn't mind, I'd be happy to spend some time speaking with you, Nicole. I'll make sure the scales go in the proper areas, Professor. Leave it to me. Excellent. Right this way, Nicole. We can talk more in the back. Great, I have a few questions. I'm about to head to the back room, but I stop and turn back to Jeff first. Thanks for keeping me company, Jeff. Yeah, abductor, murderer, rapist person. I don't know. Well, no one's murdered yet. They find the girls alive. They just don't remember anything. It would have been weird just standing here all by myself. Jeff smiles and offers a small nod. My pleasure, Nicole. I smile back and leave with Professor Garber so Jeff can get back to work. I know that small accident with the test tube was partially my fault. Jeff made it sound like this happens to him all the time. I feel so bad. I wish I could help. There has to be something I can do. Well, I don't know what, but maybe I'll figure something out eventually. Even guys like Jeff need help every now and then. Okay, I've got 2 people at 5%, I got 1 person at 10%, and I don't meet Darren yet, but I bet he's Vox. Why is my post-nasal drip so bad right now suddenly? I didn't have it this morning. I didn't have it when I went to my post-op. If you can afford it, a dinner at the fancy restaurant can give you a super... Oh yeah, I don't care.